Hello all, hope you're doing well today. So we are continuing our conversation in chapter 4. This is part 2 where we're talking more about strategic planning and the tools associated with that. Here we go. So our objectives today are we'll be talking about the different techniques to determine facility needs in the planning stages, as well as independently assessing and predicting business performance based on the detailed analysis of specific problem, case, or company, and examining the reasons why organizational philosophy, facility accessibility issues, and sustainability issues and external forces affect the planning of a facility, and then correctly applying concepts of strategic facility management and evaluating organizational strategies and structures as well as strategy implementation. So here we go. So whether you're managing a sport organization, planning an event, or coaching a team, having a solid strategic plan is crucial. Strategic planning helps align your goals with actions and ensures long-term success and sustainability. So today we'll be talking about the methods of strategic planning with examples from the world of sport management. So a vision statement, we talked about this in our last meeting. But a vision statement outlines where the organization aspires to be in the future, and a mission statement defines the purpose and primary objectives of the organization. So, for example, the vision of the International Olympic Committee is building a better world through sport. Its mission focuses on promoting Olympism and supporting athletes worldwide. And we'll be talking about these methods in this upcoming section. So starting out talking about surveys, you're probably very familiar with surveys. You've been asked to take surveys, and they're great tools for obtaining information that might otherwise be inaccessible. They are particularly valuable in the context of facility and event management, especially with current and potential customers. Surveys and interviews help identify who the current and potential users are of a facility and how they utilize available resources. For example, understanding fan expectations through targeted surveys can enhance the game day experience. It's much like our surveys or evaluations that you do at the end of the semester. It tells us what you are interested in and how we're doing and what we can do to make things better. Environmental surveys can be used to assess the current uses of a facility, its offerings, and broader trends. Additionally, they review external forces such as environmental factors or regulatory changes that may impact both the facility and its users. In facility management, such as stadium near a shoreline like ours, environmental surveys might reveal critical erosion areas requiring immediate attention, and this proactive approach ensures the facility's sustainability and safety for users. And so you can see here in this picture, it's talking about invasive species of plants and also erosion areas around our little island university. Now, scenario planning allows decision makers to identify various future issues such as the expansion of the facility, parking availability, or changes in consumer interest. The objective is to create the best solutions under all potential scenarios. So steps associated with that are to define the scope. You set the purpose and boundaries of the exercise, and then identify trends and driving forces. So there you have to consider what are those external factors and how they might influence the future. And then brainstorm scenarios. So envision a range of possible outcomes, both positive and negative, and then you create plausible narratives for each possible outcome. And then you evaluate, you analyze the implications and challenges of each scenarios, and then use the results of the exercise to inform future decisions. For example, a stadium undergoing expansion might plan for scenarios including increased foot traffic and changes in parking demand or shifts in spectator demographics. Scenario planning helps prepare for these possibilities and ensures effective resource allocation. Now, systemic layout planning consists of a framework of phases. It's a pattern of procedures and a set of conventions designed to streamline the process of identifying, rating, and visualizing the elements and areas involved in planning a layout. There's a lot that's involved, and so creating a relationship diagram is produced to visually represent the connections and dependencies between various activities and areas. Much of it could be related upon something that we're dealing with today is internet connectivity around campus. It could be that. It could be the electricity. So based upon the relationship diagram, space is allocated to each activity or function, ensuring efficient use of resources as well as optimal flow. So in the context of sport facility planning, this approach can help in optimizing spectator flow and seating arrangements in a stadium. Do you have a couple of areas where they can go into the facility as well as exit the facility? Or is there only one exit and access to the facility? And then you plan training facilities with designated spaces for different athletic activities. You know, we have Island Hall Gym, we have Dugan Wellness Gym, and then we have our free weights downstairs and more of the machine weights as well as cardio on the second floor of the facility. And you design layouts that minimize congestion and improve athlete as well as audience experience. And so consider a stadium with multiple entrances, food stalls, and viewing areas. A relationship diagram can highlight how to position these elements to reduce traffic bottlenecks and improve accessibility. So, with talking about all this, we've looked at our mission and our vision statement. We should also look at our goals and make sure that they are SMART. So using the SMART framework, we can set goals and objectives that are clear, measurable, and objective within a defined time frame. So they should be specific. What is the unique goal to be evaluated? And identify exactly what you want to achieve, why it's important, and who's involved. So some questions to consider are, what are we trying to accomplish? Who will play a role in this goal? And what is the purpose and potential benefit? And then measurable. Goals should be trackable through benchmarking or other measurement tools. How will we know when we've accomplished this goal? For example, tracking attendance growth at a sports event or improvements in athlete performance metrics. And is it attainable? So evaluate if the goal is achievable based on the current resources. While some goals may seem unattainable, they can be achieved by developing skills and expanding financial capacity and fostering positive attitudes. There are some stretch goals, so these are incremental improvements that push the organization beyond its current capacity. And is it something that is realistic? What is achievable given the available resources? So goals must align with the organization's current capacity, but they should also challenge the institution to improve. Is the organization willing and able to do what is necessary to achieve this goal? And is it timely? Goals need a specific time frame to create a sense of urgency and focus. Without deadlines, goals risk being deprioritized or overlooked. A sports organization may aim to implement a new athlete development program within 6 months. So, using the SMART framework, you set objectives like increasing fan engagement by 25% within the next year. And you know that by measuring fan engagement through social media or different avenues. You want to expand community outreach programs to 5 additional schools within 3 months. So this is a good thing to ask yourself. What is one goal you or your organization could set using the SMART framework? Break it down into the SMART components to ensure clarity and focus. With that, many of you want to graduate in the next couple of years. So the things that you need to do to get to that point, setting those goals. Many of you may want to go on for grad school. You need at least a 3.0 GPA to do that. And so you need at least A's and B's in your classes now. And how do you do that? One of those would be going to class each day, doing the homework that's required each week. Those are some specific goals to help you using the SMART process. A SWOT analysis is a strategic planning tool used to assess an organization's internal and external factors. It provides a clear framework for understanding strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and how they can influence strategic decisions. So some components of the SWOT analysis are first the strengths. And these are attributes within the organization that are helpful in achieving the objectives. So what does the organization do well? And you leverage those strengths to gain a competitive edge. For example, strong brand recognition in the local community. That's something we've not always had. It is getting better, but only because we realized that was a weakness. And we really worked to improve that by, of course, our merch that we have out and around, and making sure that our athletes are wearing their brands, their recognition, and access to state-of-the-art facilities or a highly skilled staff. We have actually both of those. We have great facilities here on campus. As far as in kinesiology, our labs are great. And then highly skilled staff, your faculty. Weaknesses. So this would be attributes within the organization that are harmful to achieving the objective. Those would be areas that need improvement. And so with that, you want to try to minimize those weaknesses or try to neutralize them as much as possible. So examples might be limited funds and for marketing campaigns, and that's definitely something that we have, and inefficient operational systems that lead to event delays. Making sure that we have high quality resources, we have great internet resources on campus, that sort of thing. Opportunities are external conditions that could be helpful in achieving the objective. And so what external trends or conditions can be capitalized on? AI is something that is external that can be really helpful in helping create better processes and helping to streamline things. So identifying and acting on those opportunities to grow. Emerging technologies to enhance fan engagement. Using social media and different tools like that to help enhance fan engagement that really doesn't cost anything. Potential partnerships with local businesses or schools. Threats would be external. So strengths and weaknesses are internal, while opportunities and threats are external. So threats are external conditions that can harm the organization's ability to achieve its objective. So what external challenges or risks does the organization face? And so with that, you want to develop strategies to try to mitigate those threats. Some of that could be political. The things that we have going on, and we have a new president, and so some of the policies, especially in higher education, could be very hurtful with higher education in general. Increased competition from other events. As Corpus Christi grows, so there tends to be a capitalization on more of high school and junior high and youth sports. So that's something that our campus tends to, they have a lot of competition with the youth sports. And now we're talking about adding in more sports. We have a new soccer league. It's not really new, but they are beginning to gain some ground. So they have to compete against that youth sport as well. Now, one thing that they can do is really capitalize on the youth sports and partner with them. to help make it a win-win for both. And economic downturns. We just came out of a season with COVID and a pandemic, and so that's something that has hurt, but we're starting to gain some ground with all of that. So conducting a SWOT analysis helps us make informed decisions. When you're planning a new sports facility, a SWOT analysis can identify strengths like available funding and weaknesses like limited land space, and opportunities like community support and threats like potential zoning restrictions. So all of those come into play, and it's how you have to understand what the situation is in order to come up with a strategy to mitigate those threats. So here's how we can integrate the idea of using objectives alongside the SWOT analysis. So as we were talking about, SWOT analysis is a strategic planning tool used to assess an organization's internal and external factors. It provides a clear framework for understanding our strengths, our weaknesses, and then the external opportunities and threats, and how they can influence our strategic decisions. And so strengths, and if we're talking about how we can use strengths, the strengths are those attributes within the organization that are helpful in achieving the objective. And the key question is, what does the organization do well? And then we try to leverage those strengths to gain a competitive edge. So for example, how can we use this strength to achieve our goals? And can this strength help us build on new opportunities? And our weaknesses are those attributes within the organization that are harmful to achieve the objective. And so with that, what areas need improvement, and how can we minimize or neutralize that weakness? So how can we overcome this? And what steps can be taken to turn this weakness into a strength? That could be training your employees and maybe giving them additional training or helping them with their education, those types of things, and helping you to be a better organization. Some opportunities are the external conditions that could be helpful in achieving an objective. And so what external trends or conditions can we capitalize on? And so we have to identify and act on those opportunities to grow. How do we exploit this opportunity for maximum benefit? For a lot of people coming out of COVID, they weren't prepared for that. And so if you can get rolling early and get to capitalizing on that, it could be very beneficial. And can this opportunity help address our weaknesses or threats? And so our threats are external conditions that could harm the organization's ability to achieve its objective. And so key question, what external challenges or risks does the organization face? And develop strategies to mitigate those threats. How do we defend against this threat? And can we create contingency plans to minimize this potential impact of this threat? Something that we're dealing with right now in Corpus Christi is a lack of water. And so they have put us on restrictions. We're in stage 3 restrictions of water. And they are trying to come up with plans to help in bringing in water, different sources, to help reduce the impact of that threat. And so if we combine the SWOT analysis with goal setting, it maximizes the value of a SWOT analysis and developing the objectives to align with its findings. This ensures a proactive and actionable approach. So with strengths, setting objectives to capitalize on specific strengths, such as increasing community outreach, using a strong local recognition. That is something that is, community is really an external factor, but if you can increase that and capitalize on it, it can help with your local recognition. As far as weaknesses, trying to create plans to address weaknesses, such as investing in better technology or staff training. And opportunities are developing goals to seize opportunities, like partnering with a new sponsor to increase funding. And then threats, implementing strategies to defend against threats, such as preparing for competitor actions or economic shifts. So for a sports event, use a strength like social media presence to drive ticket sales and overcome a weakness like outdated facilities by seeking grants or fundraising, and exploit an opportunity like an emerging trend in esports to attract younger audiences, and defend against a threat like declining fan attendance by enhancing your in-stadium experience. So this is something that's not in your text, but it is something that is used to plan and implement and really work with your strategic programming. It's the logic model. And the logic model is a structured framework that's used to plan, implement, and evaluate programs or projects by visually representing the relationships between the resources, activities, outputs, and desired outcomes. It serves as a roadmap, ensuring that all steps in the process align with the organization's objectives. And so key components of that are, you'll see inputs, and these are the resources that are required to execute a plan or project. Examples are funding and staff, equipment, facilities. Activities are the actions or tasks performed to achieve desired outcomes. So, for example, it would be hosting events or conducting training sessions or building infrastructure. And outputs are the tangible products or results of the activities. Examples are the number of events hosted, participants served, or facilities built. And outcomes, these are the short-term and long-term effects of the outputs on the target audience or community. For short-term outcomes, this could be increased awareness or improved skills or enhanced engagement. Long-term outcomes would be improved community health or financial sustainability or increased participation, and often they are both included. You might even have, you can see in that top model, intermediate outcomes. So short-term, long-term, and in between. Now the impact is the ultimate goal or broad societal change resulting from the program or project. And this could be promoting equity in sports participation or creating a more inclusive community. Now in practical applications, you want to identify the necessary resources and activities to achieve specific goals. So for example, planning a sports facility renovation to increase accessibility and sustainability. For program evaluation, it would be measuring the effectiveness of activities and determining whether desired outcomes were achieved. For example, evaluating whether adding wheelchair accessible seating increased participation by individuals with disabilities. And communication and collaboration, so aligning stakeholders by providing a clear and visual representation of the project plan. And so sharing the logic model with community leaders to secure funding for a new recreation center. Some benefits associated with using a logic model is it provides a clear and organized framework for decision making. It enhances accountability by linking resources to measurable outcomes and helps identify gaps or weaknesses in planning or execution. So by incorporating the logic model into a strategic facility planning, it allows sport managers to map out their projects systematically, ensure alignment with organizational goals and community needs. By focusing on inputs, activities, outputs, and outcomes, the logic model helps organizations stay on track and evaluate progress and achieve long-term success. This image provides an excellent example of a logic model specifically tailored for USA Swimming's Foundation of Coaching program. It visually outlines the relationship between inputs, activities, outputs, outcomes, and impacts, making it highly relevant to the logic models in strategic planning. So to better understand how logic model operates in practice, analyzing the USA Swim's formative logic model, you look at the input. So coach, knowledge, skills, and attitudes serve as the foundational resources. These include prior sport experience, role modeling, and professional growth mindset. Activities are like content delivery. It includes courses like 101 and 201 covering topics from coaching philosophy to athlete growth and nutrition. and tools such as videos, quizzes, interactive resources, and enhancing the learning experience. Now, outputs would be immediate results, such as completing the 101 and 201 exams, representing tangible achievements. Now, short-term objectives or outcomes would be coaches demonstrate improved knowledge, motivation, and communication skills, and attitudes like conscientiousness and developmental mindset are fostered. And long-term outcomes for athletes, improved performance, safety, and positive experiences. And for coaches, greater job security, life stability. And for the swim club, better enrollment, retention, and stability. And then the impacts. The mission impact of growth and swimming participation and competitive success and sport promotion. The health and societal impacts are reduced health risk, increased water safety, and broader societal benefits. So this model illustrates how inputs and activities can cascade into meaningful outcomes and societal impacts. By aligning these elements, USA Swimming ensures their coaching programs contribute to their broader mission of building the sport and promoting health. Benchmarking is the process of comparing your organization's performance, processes, and practices with those of others in the industry to identify areas for improvement and achieve best-in-class standards. So first you have to determine which processes, functions, or outcomes need improvement. For example, facility management efficiency, customer satisfaction, or athlete performance. And then select benchmarking partners. So identify organizations or teams recognized for excellence in the area you want to study, or it could be comparable to your organization. So, for Texas A&M Corpus Christi, you would look at an organization that's similar in size. It could be one of the smaller TMU sister organizations. Partners can be competitors and organizations in different sectors or industry leaders. So someone who is in the Southland Conference, for example, would be good to compare to or benchmark to. You collect data and analyze, so you gather quantitative and qualitative data about the partners' organizations. So quantitative data is looking at numbers, whereas qualitative is looking at the qualitative feedback, and that could be, oftentimes in your student evaluations, you give a quantitative figure, and then you're giving Dr. Kesterson feedback on what she could do better. And you compare it with your organization's current data to find performance gaps. And you develop improvement plans based upon that insight. So you set targets and identify specific changes or strategies to close the performance gaps. And then execute the improvement strategies and continually monitor progress to ensure that changes lead to desired results. There are different types of benchmarking. We'll talk about those next. But with looking at benchmarking, you have key steps that are associated with it, and so benefits are, again, identifying gaps in performance and providing actionable insights for improvement. You encourage a culture of continuous improvement by learning from the best, and improve decision making by using data-driven comparisons, as well as enhance competitiveness in the industry by adopting proven practices. So in sports facility management, benchmarking can help evaluate operational efficiency, fan experience, safety protocols, or even environmental sustainability. For instance, a facility might compare its energy usage to industry leaders to develop strategies for reducing costs and increasing sustainability. So benchmarking is a powerful tool for organizations aiming to learn from others and improve efficiency and achieve excellence. When it's used effectively, it provides a roadmap to close performance gaps and remain competitive in the evolving sports industry. There are different types of benchmarking. There's internal benchmarking, where you're comparing similar processes or performance across different units or departments within the same organization. So, for example, evaluating customer service performance at different locations of a sports facility. There's competitive benchmarking, where you're comparing your organization with direct competitors to assess strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities. For example, comparing ticket sales and fan engagement metrics with rival teams. And functional and process benchmarking, so studying organizations outside your industry that excel in similar processes. For example, adopting customer service techniques from successful hospitality businesses. And strategic benchmarking, comparing overall strategies, goals, and objectives to align with industry trends or best practices. So reviewing strategic plans of successful sports leagues to inspire facility upgrades or marketing campaigns. So in conclusion, developers must first develop the goals of the project through various survey techniques. They may want to consider an environmental survey to assess the current customers of similar facilities, evaluate the current and similar services available, and assess any outside forces that may impact the success of the facility. And once these aspects are considered, planners can then develop a plan that they openly discuss with employees, community members, and government officials to gain support and make any changes that would increase the success of the facility. The final plan should be disseminated to the community once that has all been done. Next, we will be looking at more of the emerging trends and issues associated with facility management. And so I look forward to talking with you again. Have a great day.